Michigan Out of Doors Online is brought to you in part by
We fight the battles no one hears about.
We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
And act as one-man air traffic control towers.
We're the ones who go before all others. Join the fight.
by Tri-County Logging. Experienced in sustainable forestry practices, Tri-County Logging can help you manage your property by keeping your woods healthy and generate income. Serving southern and mid-Michigan for nearly 50 years, TriCountyLogging.com.
Hi everyone, welcome to Michigan Out of Doors. I'm Jenny Olson-Silik, and as promised, we have an exciting all-new show in store for you this week. I'm going to introduce you to a farmer who's doing what he can to protect his crops from the deer damage before he harvests them. You won't want to miss that story. And Jimmy and Jordan have been working on some other exciting outdoor adventures for us this week too.
Well, that's right, Jenny. We do have a couple more things on this week's show, and we're going to show you something that I know we have never done here in Michigan Out of Doors, and that is magnet fishing. Our own Jordan Brown recently spent some time with a father and son team actually fishing in the Grand River with a magnet and really cleaning up that body of water. It's kind of an interesting story. You won't want to miss that. And I've been messing around with my pellet smoker a lot lately, and we've got a really cool venison recipe for you as well. Now, we do have a shortened show this week because our PBS stations are in pledge, but it's all brand new, and it starts right now. I'm Jimmy Gretzinger. It's time for Michigan Out of Doors.
From the first spring rains to the soft summer breeze, dancing on the pine forest floor, the autumn colors catch your eyes. Here come the crystal winter skies. It's Michigan, Michigan out of doors.
What a beautiful day in the woods.
Someday our children all will see this is their finest legacy, the wonder and the love of Michigan. As the wind comes whispering through the trees, the sweet smell of nature's in the air. From the Great Lakes to the quiet stream, shining like a sportsman's dream, it's a love of Michigan we all share.
Michigan Out of Doors is presented by Country Smokehouse, a sportsman's meat processor and Michigan destination since 1988. Offers a variety of homemade smoked meats and Michigan-made products in-store and online. The Country Smokehouse features an outdoor barbecue and bar. Details at countrysmokehouse.com. Michigan's hunters and anglers are essential partners to the health of the state's wildlife and habitats. The Michigan Wildlife Council is dedicated to ensuring our hunting and fishing heritage and Michigan's natural resources are preserved for future generations. By Greenmark Equipment. Greenmark Equipment is a John Deere dealership network in southwest Michigan and northern Indiana. Greenmark provides sales and services to farmers, commercial businesses, large property owners, and homeowners. Information about pricing and products available can be found online at greenmarkequipment.com.
DTE believes to lead, we have to do what's right. So we're tripling renewables and cutting carbon emissions in half over the next 10 years. DTE.
When it comes to growing crops here in Michigan, there is an age-old battle between farmers and deer. The farmers are trying to harvest as much as they can, and the deer are trying to eat the crops as fast as they can. We're going to show you what one farmer is doing to try to manage some of the deer population around his area.
Since 1857, the Doss family here in St. Clair County has been farming. Al Doss and his son Matt are the 5th and 6th generation of Dosses working this land, and they make a living growing corn and soybeans, about 1,500 acres to be exact. Even with a huge number of hunters in the area, the deer population is growing every year. I spent a day with Al recently, and he walked me through the damage deer can do to these crops.
The corn supposedly wouldn't be hurt as bad because the growing point's far enough under the ground that when they eat that off, it doesn't bother it. But for some reason this year, once the corn got up a little bit taller, they've been eating the top of the corn and they're chewing the tops of the ears off, and which in turn are turning moldy. So now we've got to deal with the mold in the combine or when we're combining the corn, because that mold's going to start getting in there and stuff. As far as the beans are concerned, when they're young, they seem like the younger they are, the more they like to be into them. And once they mow them down and chew them off to the ground, they don't come back. And that, but they're still, even on the mature beans where they're at this stage of the game, they're eating more of the branches and the foliage off the top of them. And there's, any given evening, you can see 20 to 30 deer in a bean field chewing on them. We're seeing a lot less numbers this year just for the reason the corn, we've got a lot of corn here. There's 120 acres of corn on here, and they like to hide in the corn. But anytime you go around the edges of the fields, you can see damage. So the damage in the fields could be even greater once you get inside the fields and stuff. The hail damage we've got the other day destroyed the leaf that comes right out next to the ear. And when that gets destroyed, then the ear suffers and doesn't fill out. And that's what the deer have been doing also, is eating that whorl or that, that last leaf that comes out next to the corn. And then that ends up destroying, or the ear becomes substantially smaller and doesn't fill out properly and stuff.
Al set out for an evening hunt with his crop damage permits. Most of the deer are hanging out in the tall corn this time of year, so Al headed to a blind in a bean field in hopes of seeing a couple of mature does without fawns to fill his permits.
We work every year with the DNR and we get crop damage permits. This area has a lot of deer population into it, and there is an awful lot of hunters out here. So it's not a lack of hunters, it's just there's just a ton of deer. Every evening we go out and we can count all the does have twins out here. So, you know, the numbers keep increasing. And they have, evidently, they've got it figured out where to hide when deer season starts, because to see any is tough. So that's the reason we're trying to take care of a few of them during this time of the year, is to get the damage down on the crops.
We were managing to see a few does and fawns feeding through the beans here, but Al let them pass in hopes of finding a single doe.
We have 5 tags now, and them 5 deer aren't going to make a large difference here, but every deer we take off should help on the bottom line in that, and the income of the farm and stuff should be helped a little bit by doing this. Normally we're at 200 or plus bushels per acre on corn, and the deer can knock that down by 50 bushels easy just by the damage they're doing on the tops of the ears and chewing the ears and stuff like that, because once they do that, the growth stops. So the damage and stuff that we're getting from that, if we're running 200 bushel corn and we're starting to lose 50 bushel out of that 200, you know, we're losing $150 an acre easily just by the deer damage that we're getting onto it. If you stretch that over 500 acres of corn, and that we're talking a lot of loss in the bottom line. As far as the beans are concerned, pretty much the same type of loss onto them. We're talking 50 to 60 bushel beans, and then, you know, if they take 10 bushel out at an acre, that's going to be quite the loss too. You know, you're talking $80 an acre anyways that you can lose on that also. So it's substantial.
Al was watching a single doe working her way toward us and had his sights set on using one of his DNR crop damage permits to take her out of the herd.
The DNR has been great to work with as far as getting us permits and stuff to try to manage some of the deer population in this area and that, so they do a good job. We get some permits, and we don't get a lot. We've got 5 permits, and if we do fill them, we can get 5 more to try to fill them also, but it's not as easy as it sounds. They're still scared of people, and they're still hard to get close enough to try to fill, and that is not that simple.
Nice shooting.
Okay, that's good.
How far do you think that doe was?
Oh, I'd say probably at least 75 yards, 80 yards.
Okay.
And that we're at shooting for crop damage.
She's a little bean eater,
Bean eater, yeah, long neck bean eater. That's what that was.
All right.
We're trying to eliminate a few of them out here. We have one back behind us right now over that direction. We got a little bit more daylight left, so we're going to see if we can't get another one out of these fields. We're ready for the next one. If any more come out. We've seen a few tonight, but they haven't cooperated.
We didn't see any more deer tonight, so at dark, Al set out to retrieve his doe. The Doss family takes these crop damage harvested deer to a local processor, and the meat is donated to Sportsmen Against Hunger. Nothing goes to waste.
There she is.
Yeah.
There she is.
Nice mature doe.
Yep. Full mature doe.
So how many beans do you think you saved, or corn, or whatever?
Beans, yes. Quite a few. She can eat a lot of them. She can in an evening.
Farmers here in Michigan keep America fed in more ways than one. The crops they grow and harvest put food on all our tables, and those who donate their crop damage harvests help stock the shelves at food kitchens across the state. Special thanks to the Doss family and all the hardworking farmers here in Michigan's Out of Doors.
Well, in our next story, we're going to do something just a little bit different, something I know we have never done on the television program before, and that is highlight magnet fishing. Our own Jordan Brown was recently out with a father and son team that were magnet fishing in the Grand River, cleaning up that body of water and having a lot of fun at the same time.
All right, we're here at the 6th Street Park next to the Grand River. We're gonna do some magnet fishing. If you don't know about magnet fishing, it's just throwing a magnet out with a rope and we pull in the scrap metal, anything metal. Too bad gold isn't magnetized, or we'd get it too. But we're just out here having a blast. My son Lachlan and I, we started doing magnet fishing during the COVID pandemic. He was watching YouTube and I just noticed what he was watching, and there was someone throwing something in the water. I thought it was, because he usually watches fishing videos, but he was actually watching magnet fishing video, and I was kind of interested in that. They were pulling up, you know, guns and cash boxes and old antiques and scrap metal. But I mean, the number one thing they were doing was getting scrap metal and cleaning the environment, which I like. So I bought our first magnets probably a week later, and we've been hooked ever since for the last, how long have we been doing it now? 5 months, about 5 months, 5 to 6 months now. We owned one magnet, and then we went to, now we're gonna be at 6 magnets now.
Catfish bell.
What?
That's a catfish bell.
Is it?
Yeah, they use it for fishing.
Let me see. Show me.
When the bell starts ringing, that means they got a fish.
It's pretty cool. It's our first bell.
Doesn't ring anymore.
Although this father and son team has only been at it for a few months, they've learned quite a bit about the world of magnet fishing, and were able to share some tips and tricks on how to be more successful.
Make sure you have the right magnet for what you're doing. If you're going off the bank, make sure you have a double-sided magnet, because you're going to be able to drag, you know, 2 sides to the magnet, so you have double the chance of getting something. If you're going off a bridge, have a one-sided magnet, so that's just face down so you can bob it. Make sure you have a long enough rope, at least 65 feet. That will get you down past the height of a bridge, and long enough that you can throw it out there. Make sure you wear gloves, because your hands will get raw for pulling all day long. Make sure you have plenty of water, a snack. Make sure you have a hat on, because the sun will be beating down on you. Make sure you have sunscreen. Make sure you tie off your rope, because some people don't tie off the rope. They'll put their foot on it and think they're fine and throw their magnet out, and then it'll just keep going, and then you've lost your magnet. I've known plenty of people have done that.
Oh yeah, buddy. That's a full one.
Something. Pretty heavy. Hold it. Got it?
Yeah.
It's good, 15, 20 pounds.
We were finding a little bit of everything in this stretch and removing lots of debris and fishing snags along the way. Cleaning up the river is important to Ryan and Lachlan, and was the driving force behind this new hobby.
I mean, it's great to get out here with Lachlan and my daughter, my wife, just to enjoy the day and everything, and magnet fish. But the best thing is that what we're doing is, you know, helping the environment locally, cleaning out the river piece by piece of all the metal that's in there. It's not good for the fish, not good for the environment. And the biggest thing is, you know, and our motto is, you know, you keep what you catch. Doesn't matter how big it is, doesn't matter how small it is, take it home. I do see a lot of magnet fishermen that are out here. They will leave all their metal. If it's something they don't want, they'll just leave it. You know, it could be a small nail, it could be a big bolt, but me personally, you know, take everything so it doesn't get thrown back in. I mean, it doesn't matter when we throw it out there. We can't. What is that? It's like a toy gun, I think. I don't think it's a real gun cover, but that's cool. That's awesome. But yeah, it doesn't matter or wherever we throw it out. We're always going to get shrapnel, railroad spikes, toy gun, half of the toy gun, bolts. But you know, every little bit helps. So this stuff will go off to the scrapyard.
Well, the next time you see someone throwing a magnet in the water, you'll know exactly what they're up to. Special thanks to Ryan, Lachlan, and all of the other magnet fishermen out there for doing their part to clean up our waterways here in Michigan's Out of Doors.
Well, hey everybody, we are here in my front yard today and we are going to do a little smoking. I have really been getting into these pellet smokers. A lot of different companies make them. This one is made by our friends at Grilla Grills in Holland, Michigan. They make all sorts of different varieties. This one, what I like about this one, the Chimp, is that it's portable. So basically these legs all fold up. With two people, you can easily put it in the back of a pickup, take it to deer camp, turkey camp, fish camp, whatever you want to do. What we're going to do today is what's called a reverse sear. Now, I first heard about this when doing a beef steak, and it was awesome on that. And I've tried it on venison backstraps. It was equally as good. Today we're going to try tenderloin. So it's just a little bit different because these are a little smaller. So we're going to give it a whirl. It's a pretty basic recipe. We'll get into kind of why we're doing the reverse sear once we get the meat on the grill. But really, to season these, I know a lot of you out there are like, I don't like to season my tenderloins at all, and you don't have to. But I've got a couple that I really like here, and I want to try it on these tenderloins and see which one we like the best. So just to get things started, we're going to just take a little olive oil, and we're going to just put a little coating on the meat here, just to kind of hold the rub on there a little bit. And the two rubs that I'm going to use today are two of my favorites. One is just an all-purpose rub that Grilla Grills use, and the other one is M-Salt, and you can find it at a lot of different grocery stores here in Michigan. But basically, it is just salt, pepper, and a little garlic pepper. So I'm not going to over-season these. I'm just going to do kind of a light, just enough to give it a little flavor. Rub that in there a little bit. And I'm kind of excited to see which one of these turns out best. And Jordan is here behind the camera. He's going to have to taste test these as well. So that's that. I know the thing about tenderloins, you could probably cook this over a candle and it would be pretty good. But this reverse sear, how we're going to do this, we're going to cook it at a real low heat and really monitor the temperature very closely. So I'm going to put a temperature gauge inside the meat right when we put it on. And as soon as it gets to about 120 or so, 115, 120 on the interior of the meat, going to pull the meat off, set that aside, and then crank the smoker up to like 450, 500, and then we're going to put the meat back on to kind of finish it off. So it's just kind of a new, different way to try venison backstrap or tenderloin. Okay, we just pulled these off. I'm going to let them rest for about 3 to 5 minutes, which is kind of hard to do because they smell great. I left the probe in there. It's holding right at about 140. So yeah, just going to give it a couple minutes and then cut them open. And I tell you what, if you're just looking for a new way to try to cook some backstraps, tenderloin, or even if it's a beef steak, the reverse sear is a great way to do it. These pellet smokers work great, but you could actually do it in your oven and then do it on your grill or even in a cast iron skillet at the very end just to sear that in. Just a new way to try some venison. You might want to give it a try. We just taste tested both of them. Really good. Again, with venison, you don't want to overcook it. These are not overcooked. Nice pink, red middle. Perfect.
Thanks for joining us this week for Michigan Out of Doors. As the weather cools off here in the evenings, we know that hunting seasons are getting closer. This week, all three of us from the show will be in the northern lower following along on the elk season that's happening here this week. You won't want to miss that. We'll be showing you some of that in upcoming weeks, and we'll be doing a little bit more fishing, some of that early deer season. Unbelievably, it's already here. If you'd like to see where we are and where we're headed next, you can always check us out online.
Well, that's right, Jenny. Online is always a great way to check us out. You can do that on our website, on our social media platforms, as well as on YouTube. You can subscribe to our channel there, get an email every time we post something new. Lots of brand new stuff coming over the next several weeks. We are getting into the hunting seasons right now, and it's going to be a lot of brand new stuff over the next several weeks. Make sure you join us right here on your PBS station.
Michigan Out of Doors is presented by.
Do you dream of somewhere bigger than your backyard? You can get there with Greenstone. Whether you want to hunt, fish, hike, or just watch the sunset, we're ready to help you own your place in the great outdoors. To learn more, visit greenstonefcs.com.
WorkingPerson.com. From the factory floor to the job site and into the field, WorkingPerson.com supplies work boots and shoes, workwear, safety gear, and more. For individuals or outfitting your whole team. Learn more at WorkingPerson.com.
By G5 Outdoors, makers of the Quest and Prime bows. Manufactured and designed in Memphis, Michigan, G5 offers a line of archery bows, broadheads, and accessories on the web at g5outdoors.com. Closed captioning provided by Marvo Mineral, makers of Lucky Buck, deer management products including minerals to supplement deer diets year-round to improve health and antler growth.
When I wander far away, a dream stays with me night and day. It's the road that leads to my home state. I am a Michigan man. Changing seasons paint the scene like rainbow trout in a hidden stream. The white-tailed deer in the tall pine trees. I am a Michigan man. I am a Michigan man. Ask where I'm from and I'll show you my hands. Lord above, I love this land. I am a Michigan man. From the Keweenaw down to St. Joe, Kalamazoo, east to Monroe, to St. Marie and back again. I am a Michigan man. I am a Michigan man. Ask where I'm from and I'll show you my hands. Lord above, I love this land. I am a Michigan man. I'm Michigami, win when it's so strong. I say I'm say when in way I'm when manani I'm not.